and this is the Add Me part of this video. You see, Fex Mundi, there will be a day, not that far away, I assure you, where the people, all liberated, will look back onto the age of Fex Mundi and, best as they can, will try to understand how it all was possible and thus try to wonder and guess at Fex Mundi's motives and what they were thinking, and they will hit a wall there. In a sense that no matter how much slack they might cut Fex Mundi, the people of the future will arrive at the point where they will go, yeah, okay, but they actually went and fucked with the Russian people? And they will realize, or somebody will tell them, well, they fucked with all mankind, that includes the Russian people. And they'll say, yeah, but the Russian people, they actually went and tried to fuck with the Russian people and think they get away with fucking with the Russian people? Yeah, because they were Fex Mundi. You know, here's a line from the anthem. Selflessly true, we shall always stand. I didn't write that. I don't know who wrote those lyrics for that anthem, but selflessly true, we shall always stand. That is the Russian people, not just the European part of the Russians. No, the Russian people. Russia. You know, Lurch of the Addams Family, the butler of the Addams Family, I do like him because I once more was reminded of him. I have said this a few times before. His standard replique to his master's oddity, and I also phrased it always like that because it's the most efficient way to phrase it, was, that is what people in the future will think about Fex Mundi when they look back onto the age of Fex Mundi. You know, you went and fucked with the Russian people. I mean, wow. That's smart. Gee, you go and fuck with the Russian people. No shit. For 80 plus years, you go and fuck with the Russian people, and you think you get away. Or something. I take it. You know, if there aren't, but if there were any aliens anywhere near us coming to visit Earth and try to study history, even the aliens are going, okay? You went and fucked with the Russian people. And the wonderful thing about the Soviet Union that I love so much is that the Soviets always were sabotaged along their way, whereas as America always was dragged along. They stole everybody else's achievements straight out of the heads of the scientists and whatnot, and by comparison, people, namely especially people in the to come all liberated Northern American continent, should it not get annihilated, will look back and actually realize how pathetic were the Americans. That's what they'll realize. To a certain extent, that is a little surprise, because the American people really were people who wanted away from it all, so to speak. You know, I mean, all these people who left Europe behind for whatever reason, they just wanted to have peace somewhere. And Fex Mundi in America forced them into a world-dominating empire machinery kind of thing. This is, the American people are the wrongest possible type of people you could utilize in a world-dominating empire kind of thing. Right? I mean, world-dominating empires are motard in the first place. I want to make this very, very clear. But I want to explain to you that Americans basically just, you know, the Brits have their splendid isolation thing in a head, briefly, in a related kind of sense. America really is there for all the people who opt into splendid isolation. That is what it should have been like. But Fex Mundi went and had the crazy notion that all of the American people have to be verheizt, wonderful German word, whatever it means in English. Let's see. Does the dictionary, well, it just says to use as fuel. You know, there is something more to it than just the literal translation in the German. All the American people were used as fuel of the delusions of Fex Mundi, who thought that they would make them achieve something and be something, when in fact Russia and the Soviet Union and whatever all the while was sabotaged all along the way. People will look back, people all over the globe, but especially, not even the Russians, they won't give a rat's ass, but the Americans themselves, should they survive, will look back and just, even they will just shake their head over Fex Mundi. You know, if you want to make anything a world dominating empire, you don't bloody take America for it. You don't. That's the wrong kind of people. These people want their peace. Okay? That's why they went there. That's why they declared their fucking independence for the Brits, and so on and so forth. And you bloody try to make them that. And how pathetic was America in comparison to the Soviet Union? So that one was something, a little thought I wanted to convey to you. Another thing is, I did mention in one of the earlier videos, quite a while back by now, the specific fate of Japan also. I said before that no people was as ridiculed as the Russian people. And overall, that holds true. The Japanese people are that people were, if you think of what potential future they would have had, they were bereft. They were most bereft and ridiculed like hell and whatnot. But that is a somewhat different situation from the Russian people. So I still have the ranking be the Russian people as the most ridiculed ever, and somewhere next then be the Japanese people. I just want to explain that so that I'm not being accused of contradicting myself. That's another thing. Another thing is, considering how here in these here parts they're utilizing or attempting to utilize old approaches to mindfucking, I mean mass manipulation mindfucking, from, as I said in the other video, 25, 30 years ago. As it happens here, I cannot rule out that Fex Mundi elsewhere on the world get that crazy notion. And if I think that you're gonna, you are trying, not gonna, that if there is a chance that you are trying that in Russia, let me tell you something. There ain't no age of mindfucking whose ways of indoctrination and mass population manipulation you could utilize to restart and reboot something. No matter which historic age of mindfucking over the Soviet Union or then Russia decades you choose, you can only fuck it up. The interesting thing is, I realized today that when it comes specifically to Russia, you are at a situation which is inevitable. Namely, what is inevitable is the downfall of Fex Mundi. And the fascinating thing about that is that I did mention in the numbers video yesterday how, by comparison, Russia, I expect to be that country with, in proportion to core Fex Mundi, the least number of willing executioners. And the fascinating thing is that that lends itself somehow to actually have a situation, and be it only in Russia and nowhere else in the world, that some of the willing executioners in Russia might actually defect from Fex Mundi. Namely, to such an extent that they don't just go hide, but that they actually try to do something quintessentially for mankind. That is only possible in Russia and nowhere else, and it is only a possibility. But it is possible. It also is possible due to the fact that they don't have such a lot of willing executioners, such a broad and wide willing executioner infrastructure in Russia as they have everywhere else in the world. I want to point that out. In fact, I consider that inevitable, actually. Or unvermeidbar in German, or in Russian, I use the Leo, this is a woman voice actually.
Неизбежный.
There. Once more.
Неизбежный.
Ah. Okay. You went and fucked the Russian people. You went and fucked the Russian people for decades and decades and decades. And you think you can just keep it up, you know, and you know, you went and fucked the Russian people. Wow. I mean, you are beyond crazy and stupid and idiotic. You actually think you can go fuck the Russian people for decades and get away with it. That is what you believe. That is what you are convinced of. Selflessly true, we shall always stand. And I assure you, Fex Mundi, there is not gonna be one fucking cross gonna stand when Russia is liberated, and there ain't gonna be one fucking delusional nobility creature gonna be left in Russia. And a couple other things that in this video I don't want to talk about. I wrote down for one of the next topic videos a few points. Just so you know, you don't fuck the Russian people. And as over 100 million of them are Russian, it's a good thing, because you don't fuck any people, really. You don't fuck the people of Bongo Bongo Land. And I love Bongo Bongo Land. I'm not a racist, I love Bongo Bongo Land. You don't fuck that people either. You don't fuck any human's mind. But if you fuck any human's mind, you don't go choose the Russian's mind to fuck. You don't. Just so you know. So, to the Russians, Tag der russisch-freiländischen Freundschaft, 26. Oktober. I wish you...
Желаю удачи. Желаю удачи.
And...
Пока.